My name's Morgan.
Nice to meet you, Morgan. I'm Gareth.
Nice to meet you. And I was just wondering, what gives you inspiration to draw comics?
Well, when I was a kid, I was 5 when I discovered comic books, and from that day I realized that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I knew I didn't have much artistic ability to draw like what I was looking at, but I always knew that I could draw and I would draw, so my main artistic motivation was just that I had perseverance. And I committed myself to just drawing every day when I was a kid. I'm like, if I want to get good at this, I'm just going to draw every day. And even for years I looked at my work and I'm like, this is not good, but I knew that every bad drawing I did would one day lead to me being good at it. So I just stuck to it and knew that when I was older I would have a career in it, and it worked out. 30 years of drawing every day has certainly paid off.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Thanks. So the question was, what inspires me?
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time just looking at other people's art, and I always thought of myself as just not participating so much in society as I just watched what everyone was doing. So I just felt like that was a good technique for being an artist, just sit back and watch and see little quirks that people have and try to capture them in ink. So I'm just inspired by the people who are alive and living and doing art already, so I just want to be part of that.
It's lovely. I was wondering, what comes first in your brain, the story or the visuals?
I'm working on something right now, and I just usually have just an idea. Like, I thought everyone does these Venn diagrams on the internet, so I thought, oh, Enid, Jupiter, Lyra, Gotham, and they meet in the middle as the Monster Sisters. It's just one of my comic books. So it usually just starts with an idea for something I feel like drawing, and from that, I just pencil in characters, and then the words come. I usually just, because I publish a comic every month, I just know something's going to happen. So we went and saw Ringo Starr, so I was inspired to draw the concert and then wrote down the set list. Yeah, I just have a character that's really simple, and as soon as I draw the Pierogi cat and then put a word balloon around him, my next step is to put something in there. And usually the vacant look on his face gives me some inspiration for what to draw next. But I just kind of roughly pencil through and step back and look at my work and see if I can pull something out of it. Yeah, I like monsters, so I'll draw a lot of monsters, and something will come out of it.
Yeah, I've read some of it. It's quite interesting.
Always draw what you like to draw, and so I'd hate to be stuck drawing something. I always liked Spider-Man as a character, but I always thought that would be the most difficult job, drawing all those webs over and over. So I just tried to step back, and if I have to draw the Pierogi cat 100 times in a week, at least he's simple. Yeah, and I still have fun doing it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I suppose that was the other one. What are the stages in making a comic, getting it published?
Well, in my world, I just know I'm going to do it all myself.
Right.
So my ideal day would have a blank piece of paper, and I write and draw at the same time. So it's just panel for panel. I might have a grand idea of where it's going to go. And I used to always start at the beginning and work to the end, but now I might have an idea for just the middle, and I'll draw that, and then I'll think, how did I get to that point, and then I'll just draw a few pages leading up to it. So it's usually just writing and drawing as the page progresses. And when I've got enough done and it flows for me, I just go to the copy center, scan it, and email it to myself. And then I've got a friend who does all my computer layout, so I email it to him, and I ask him to do colors if necessary, and he'll just format it properly to be uploaded to the printers. And there's a bunch of printers around that you just take your file in and they can spit out a comic book. So it's just my job is to write, draw, and get it to printers, and use as many friends that can help you as possible. Yeah, it would be near impossible to do it all on a regular basis if you didn't have help.
Yeah.
Become friends with the printer. Metropole up a couple blocks up is really good, and it's like a 2-day turnaround if I give them a comic, and they can make 5 copies, or they can make 500. So once you know how many readers you have, it's really nice to know, oh, I can guarantee you sell 50 copies of this. And it's good. If you lose your art collection in a flood, it's nice to know other people in the world have your books or your art.
Who do you collaborate with? Do you collaborate?
Yeah, last year, or 2 years ago now, Shane Coyson, the famous poet, he approached me about working on a video and a comic book with him. So there's always people I'd like to work with, but if they approach me about it, I'll always say yes if it's something that looks good. Catherine Calder was in town. She's a musician in some famous rock bands, and she had seen something else I've done, so she asked me to animate one of her videos, so I did that. I think being an artist, you just have to be open put yourself out there enough that people are aware of you, and if they meet somebody who does what you do, they think of you first. Say yes to as many things as possible when you're starting out, and then after you've got some work under your belt, you can start being picky and saying no to jobs. But for years, I just did anything that came my way. You learn from it all.
And what are your favorite comics?
Well, Mad magazine in the 50s is my favorite stuff, and everyone who kind of came out of that. My favorite artist would be Sergio Aragonés. He's the guy who did Gru, and he did all the tiny little marginal cartoons in Mad, and he's really been a big inspiration. He's so good at what he does that he makes it look easy, and he deconstructs everything so it just looks cartoony and quick. They call him the fastest cartoonist in the world. He just does a whole page in 20 minutes, and I'm inspired by him every time. He might be closing in on 80 years old, and he's still working, pumping out comics, and yeah, he's probably up there in my top. Anyone who came out of Mad is going to be a hero of mine.
I'm quite partial to Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh my God, yeah. That's. There's always lists of the best comics, and yeah, Calvin and Hobbes is always number one. Peanuts and Calvin and Hobbes seem to rule the pantheon of great comics. Yeah, I've got one right there, The Weirdos from Another Planet.
Read all
See,
of them like 5
he's so
times.
good that it pains me to look at him because I'll never you can't top that. So I learned another thing is try to have heroes that are attainable. It was really disappointing to look at the greatest artists in the world and think, oh, I can't do that. Look at the worst professional. I think I can do better than that. Really inspiring.
Yeah.
Come on through, guys.
And just a couple more questions.
Of course.
Do you do any other kinds of art?
I've done paintings. I went to university and got a degree in painting and drawing because they frowned upon comics when I was there. So I had to kind of mix everything I liked other than comics. Yeah, I paint. I did some really big paintings for the museum last year, and they were shown in there, and that was really exciting. I do a lot of acrylics. It's really nice to have the opposite of pencil and paper is to doing a big, giant 8-foot-tall acrylic painting of a chicken or something. That always makes me happy. But pen and ink is my main line of work. But every time I have an opportunity to paint a cover, I'll always do that on acrylics on canvas and then photograph it.
Wow.
But comics are my main thing. Animation I'm getting into a little bit, but that's still just comics with somebody fiddling with a computer to make it move.
Yeah. And what's your next project?
I have a record label, and for the last 20 years I keep putting out records with musicians I like, and the new Froggy Cat book came with an Ed Robertson record. But I've just announced that I'm doing an REM tribute album, so I'm getting bands from all over the world to do songs for this record, and it's going to come out as a big 12-inch vinyl record. And I'm looking forward to doing the comic that'll go along with that. My wife wrote the Froggy Cat kids book, and we're doing a series of them, so we're in the middle of working on the second one. What else? I'm working on the new issue of the Monster Sisters, my daughter's comic book series. And I'm collaborating with a comedian in Vancouver named Shane Scott Travis, and his Facebook posts are hilarious, so I've been illustrating them as Froggy Cat cartoons and publishing them as books. So I'll be doing that as well. Oh, I'm working on a graphic novel about Harvey Kurtzman, the guy who created Mad magazine back in the 50s, so I keep going to New York and interviewing his family and piecing that together. It might be a 200-page graphic novel that I'm really stressing out about, but it's at least on my drawing board right now.
That's really neat. And thank you for your time. That's about it.
That work for you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Breathe deep. My pleasure. Thank you.